Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal. With Dragonflight Season 4 approaching in less than 2 weeks, many players have begun to ask themselves if now is a pretty good time to take a break from WoW in anticipation to the War Within expansion. It is very common for players to rest up before we begin the very next chapter of World of Warcraft, but Blizzard is making it that much harder for anyone to quit. With the recent announcement behind the patch 10.2.7 and its new gameplay experience, Mists of Pandaria Remix, which offers players a reason to re-experience one of the most memorable WoW expansions to date through the Dragonflight class design and talents while retaining the 3-player scenarios, the same Mists of Pandaria dungeons, introducing raiding as a leveling alternative option, as well as a ton of new cosmetics for players to work towards. Remix of Pandaria recently was made available for testing for a limited time over on the PTR realms, and so far I got to experience roughly 16 hours of this new mode, where I leveled a fresh character from 10 to max level, and I got to experience everything the game has to offer besides endgame heroic raiding. So if you're still on the fence whether you should take a break from the game until War Within or you should keep playing into the patch 10.2.7, I got my 5 reasons why you should keep playing and why I think Remix Mists of Pandaria mode is going to be definitely worth putting time into. But right before we get into this video update, most of you guys watching these kind of videos are still not subscribed. However, the more of you remind, the more of you do. So let's keep it going. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell if you're watching these videos anyway. Especially if you want to get more regular content regarding Dragonflight patch 10.2.6, 10.2.7, Season 4, or any of the future War Within updates. Now, the very first reason on this list will be that patch 10.2.7 is offering a brand new leveling catch-up experience, with the Mists of Pandaria Remix mode being basically a new mode of leveling. For my time spent on the PTR, I was able to get a level 10 character to level 70 in roughly 2 days. As your character continues to get experience boost by upgrading your cloak, which you do from interacting with Mists of Pandaria in general. You gain experience from scenarios, dungeons, raids, quests, rares, and everything, with all these activities further upgrading your cloak, which then further continues to help increase the amount of experience you earn as you get to higher levels. And so far on the PTR, the cloak buff that you get on your main is account wide. This means if you go play on your main, grind out as much levels as possible, upgrade your cloak, and then decide to level another character as an ult, that character will gain all of the benefits from your main's cloak upgrades, which means leveling ult is going to be so much easier once you've done the entire 10 to 70 journey on your first main character. Like in Plunderstorm in WoW Remix, you'll have to make a new character just for this activity. However, after the time running event ends, probably towards the end of patch 10.2.7 or closer to the War Within release, everybody gets to keep their characters they created in the Time Runners mode. This means that for retail players, you get to keep your next character that you can continue leveling into the next expansion. And for classic players, this gives you an opportunity to get caught up with a level 70 character without having to commit to purchasing the most recent Dragonflight expansion, leaving you with a character that's actually ready to dive into the War Within once it officially launches. Another primary benefit of this new mode is a ton of different cosmetics that you can earn just by playing in WoW Remix Mists of Pandaria. Throughout this time running adventure, you'll be able to earn a new currency called Bronze, and you earn Bronze through a variety of different activities, from slaying monsters, rares, bosses, completing quests, looting treasures, and even flying around can earn you a bit of Bronze here and there. And of course, group activities are also included in the Bronze acquisition process. Bronze can be spent on a lot of items, from endgame progression to gear, but also cosmetics, which is what the community is the most excited about. And if transmogs and mounts is what you're really after, then you want to get familiar with visiting the bazaar quite often. At the bazaar, you have a variety of different vendors that offer you collectibles and cosmetics, from quest and gear vendors to outfit your character with iconic Pandaren gear, as well as dungeon gear as well as raiding gear. This includes the reskins for all the different difficulties of the raid, from LFR, normal, heroic, and even mythic. We also get vendors for specialty items such as mounts. This includes new mounts available for the time running mode, but also some of the more sought after mounts from raids, world bosses, and even open world content of Mists of Pandaria. However, some of the more interesting and rarest mounts from Mists of Pandaria will be a bit more expensive, but think of it this way. You can either farm for these mounts on a weekly basis over on the live realms dealing with RNG, or play in the patch 10.2.7 and work towards them over time to purchase them directly with Bronze. And to give you an idea of how long it takes you to farm one of these mounts, completing an entire storyline of Thunder Isle, for example, will award you with about 10,000 bronze. All of the quests for the Thunder Isle can be done back to back, and most of the quests take about between 5 to 10 minutes each to complete a single chapter scenario, with about 6 chapters total. And you don't even have to grind the reputation in order to unlock these chapters, as reputation gains are expedited just for this mode specifically. Besides this, we also have a toy vendor, which opens up another avenue to collect some of the most sought after toys of Pandaria, as well as a class set vendor, which allows you to purchase an alternative version of your class sets and weapons. This would be just like the class sets and weapons as we saw on the trading post a couple of weeks to a month ago, but these are going to be an alternative version that you can get from this mode. When it comes to number 3 on the list, we have class builds and customizations. One of the main ways that WoW Remix Mists of Pandaria differentiates itself from retail or even classic World of Warcraft is in its gearing system and changes. Gear is going to be a lot more customizable in the Remix version, with most of your items having up to 3 sockets to be slotted into. Sockets can then be filled with prismatic gems, which can contain stats like haste, mastery, versatility, or crit, but also fortify other stats such as armor, leech, or speed. Combining 3 of the same gem in terms of their quality will upgrade that gem from a common to a rare. 3 rares can turn into an epic, and 3 epics turn into a legendary. And you can discover most gems just from interacting with any Mists of Pandaria in-game activity, but you can also purchase gems for bronze if you're looking to bolster your gem collection. Besides prismatic stat gems, we also have Tinker gems, which are essentially ability gems. These provide the player with passive damage effects and healing effects, some of which can proc naturally during combat, while others are activated with things like auto attack, critical strikes, or even when using your main major class cooldowns. Cogwheel gems are going to deal with mobility, defense, or utility, and you can only slot one of them in your boots slot. Meta gems will be some of the most powerful gems that you can equip in the helmet slot. These can create devastating void explosions, summon a lightning storm to strike foes while healing allies, a lightning orb which shocks all enemies around you, or transform the player into the incarnation of Chi-Ji, the Red Crane, granting you a new set of abilities to deal fire damage while healing your allies. And the vast majority of the gems you will unlock just from adventuring through Remix of Pandaria, but you can always spend bronze on a vendor to unlock all available gems and abilities, which also doesn't take too long. But the very best part of this system is the sheer amount of character customizations that goes into your perfect build, and there's so many different options on the table. Some of the more popular builds I've seen so far are Blood Death Knights that use the Arcanist Edge gem, which causes your attacks to consume a portion of your active shields, but Blood Death Knights basically live inside of the Blood Barrier, which is a source of infinite damage. Some of the other playstyles I've seen include healers using the Ward of Salvation rune, which allows them to mark a target, usually the tank. This then allows all of the healing on that tank to turn him into a living bomb, converting all of the healing into a massive AoE explosion, which does millions of damage at a time. Death Knights can use the Brilliance gem, which under the right conditions provides them with a ton of endless resources such as runic power, making Sindragosa builds unbeatable in dungeons. Or even enhancement shaman builds where a portion of their damage can then be converted into group healing, but then a portion of that group healing is then reconverted back into damage, creating a very powerful and a potent feedback loop. Overall, the best part of this gem system is the sheer customizability, and that can create hundreds of hours of gameplay, with every single class getting access to a handful of builds to play around, as certain gems are going to synergize with certain classes much better, but it's created so many new playstyles that never been seen before, and I'm excited to see how the community ends up coming up with even more builds once this thing officially goes live, because the number of players that we do get over on the PTR pales in comparison to the sheer number of players that actually play the live content once it releases. And that high number of players is going to lead to so many more discoveries that we've been able to do so far on the PTR. Another reason to play this new mode is to experience a different kind of endgame progression. Like if you're a retail player that's not excited for Season 4 of Dragonflight, or maybe you're a classic player that isn't necessarily looking towards Cataclysm Classic, Remix might be the perfect game mode for you. Whereas Remix offers players a new form of endgame progression that kind of mixes together parts of retail and parts of classic into a different design. First of all, we have lots of open world content, from rep progression, story quests, Timeless Isle, as well as so many treasures and rares for you to discover and slay. Scenarios is another form of casual version of group activity that doesn't require healers or tanks, meaning that it's almost instant queue for any player looking to dive into group content. Dungeons will only have normal and heroic difficulties. You're not gonna have things like Mythic Plus timers or Mythic Plus affixes, but it doesn't mean that heroic difficulty is gonna be slouch either, as heroics right now in the PTR offer you notably harder boss fights and tougher trash packs, but it doesn't have this infinite scaling of M+, which has a more of a stable difficulty curve. Normal and heroic raids will abide by similar rules and principles as dungeons, but you can now level through LFR version of raids, which is actually quite awesome to dive into the Mogushan Vaults as a level 25 character. Finally, I think my number 5 reason is going to be this new gear upgrade system they got working on the PTR. Upgrading gear in Remix allows you to boost your items that you're currently wearing to the highest item level of any one singular item. It's a system that at first is going to limit you in terms of the amount of gear that you can upgrade based on your level range. But after you hit level 70 and you're ready for the end game content, you essentially can keep upgrading all gear that you are wearing to the highest level almost as much as you want to. To better explain this upgrade system, let's use an example. Let's say you got a fresh new character to level 70 in Remix Mists of Pandaria, and your highest item level gear of any single item is 380 item level. This means you can now upgrade the rest of your gear to 380 base item level. And after you do that and your item level is 380 head to toe, you can now upgrade all of those pieces one extra upgrade rank up. This allows you to then go and upgrade each item individually using bronze as the main upgrade currency. Once all of your items have reached this next rank from 380, once every item is on that same item level, you can now push every one of those items another rank upwards until every one of your current items is the same item level, and then you can do the same thing again and again and again. It's a process where you can just keep upgrading the gear you're currently wearing. It also allows players to find the items with the perfect secondary stats. Let's say you found shoulders, chest, helms with critical strike, and that may be your best optimal option. And now you can upgrade those critical heavy items to the next highest level and just keep using them into endgame progression. And certain items like rings as well as trinkets you will unlock by completing achievements as part of this WoW Remix Mists of Pandaria mode, and those items are a guarantee. Some of those accessories will have customizability, like 3 extra gem slots that can be filled with prismatic stat gems, which allows you even more customizability to get the very best stats squeezed out of your character. It's a different type of progression system that allows players to grind out all of their gear to the next highest rank and then keep going as long as they have the bronze to supplement their upgrades. And bronze is fairly easy to collect from all forms of endgame progression, so once you find yourself the best gear that you want, you can keep upgrading it up until the nth degree until it's at the very peak of upgrade potential. And for now, that's going to be my full list of reasons why I think Mists of Pandaria Remix might actually be worth your time. This mode has easily taken everybody by storm, as everybody got excited about the announcement where players could work towards specific cosmetics, mounts, and transmog, but I don't think anybody expected the gearing system, the gem system, the ability system to be as good as it's been so far. The customizability and the player agency behind how we create our characters and how we outfit them with what stats we get ourselves has been an awesome feature that I am actually blown away by. And being able to go back into all those old dungeons and having an actual challenging bit of content without turning it up to an infinite scaling Mythic Plus has also been a genuinely good surprise. So that's going to be my entire video on reasons why I think you should play in the Mists of Pandaria Remix. As per usual, if you guys enjoyed this video or found it informative, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And as always, in the description of every single video and live stream, we have a link to our Discord community channel. Probably the best place to reach out to me directly in case you want to let me know what you thought about this video or hang out with the rest of the community to discuss some of the upcoming changes. Join our Discord to become part of the community. But otherwise, thank you all so much for watching this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in another video.